bending over. Okay, now this is the tough one. This is where we get into the actual starting to lift it type thing. So, I'll do this first part here. So, we're going to get ourselves over top of the box. We're going to go down into the grab position down here, like this. Okay, so once we're down into this position here, here's where we want to decide where we're going to put a little bit of an anticipation into it. So you don't necessarily want to take your character down as far as they can possibly go. You don't want to go all the way down to a low point here, because it gives you no room for an anticipation. I really can't go any further than this. I'm sort of stuck there. Okay, so you want to take your character down to a point where they're there, and then you can go down into your anticipation with both the head and the butt. Okay? You really can't do anything with the arms. You could, but only if your knees and arms were out. If your knee was like this, you would use your knee to do this action of the anticipation. So we're looking for the idea that we're going to anticipate down with the head and butt. Okay, so just make an indication of this pose here, this frog-like pose that I'm in, that your head is going down and your butt's going down a little bit further as well. I'll just hold this for a couple seconds here. So our next pose coming out of this will be the variation. You can choose either one that you want. You can either do the butt up first, so I'm going to go down in my anticipation, and then I'm going to butt up first like this, okay, which is going to cause my legs to straighten and snap right out. Ooh, God, I haven't stretched out for a while. But I can straighten out my legs like this, which pulls my arms straight out like this, and you can see the curl in my back. Okay. So what I'm looking towards here in this pose is the idea that when my butt comes up, it's not just going straight up, so that I'm going to go over in this direction here like this. I don't want to do this, because then I'm going to lose my balance. I'm using my thumbs to hold myself up. But if I took my thumbs out of there, I'd just go, whoa, right over onto my face. Okay? So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you've got enough room that you can thrust your butt back in order to counterbalance, because your pull is going to pop out, and then you're going to counterbalance by coming back in again when you come up. All right? So, with the butt up pose, let's follow this action through. We're going to go from here to here, and then we're going to do the actual pull itself, which is going to require an in-between that's essentially going to put strain and pull right here. Okay? So we've got that pulling action that's taking place right there. From here, okay, if I have my arms like this, and then I go into my extreme pull position, I'm sort of stretching the arms out like that, and then I'm going to get this rolling action here. It comes up to this position. Right? So see how my arms are still straight. So I've got the pull taking place here. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to roll the shoulders up and over. So I'll hold this for a couple more seconds. Then I'm going to get the high and roll the shoulders back. So this is going to be my high point here. So now I'm supporting the weight into my stomach. So see the difference between here and here? Okay. That's the action that's taking place. Popping the hips out, rolling the shoulders back. Legs are still straight here. And then what will happen on the very next pose is I'm going to collapse down into it. Okay, so there's a two-part thing here that I just did. I can feel it. You probably didn't see it. But as I come from this position here, roll my shoulder back, and I start to go down, I go like this. The weight hits my legs, so it's on my thighs right now, and then watch my arms. Here's my extreme position. My legs didn't move. Okay, so I caught the weight on my legs. Boom, there's my low point there. And then I let the weight slide and stretch in my arms to give more weight to it. So my shoulders will roll and then down like that. The sound effect adds so much more to it, I think. Then we're going to get the cushion part, which is where we go from this position here We're going to come back up again. Still with the shoulders over in this direction here. It's just a leg movement now. So we straighten up the legs. This is heavy. It's a good thing I've been working out. You didn't notice. And then from this position, I'm then going to go back down again. So I've also got the arm movement as well. I'm going to stretch and straighten out a little bit more to get that strain.
Why did you go back down again?
Because weight, gravity always wins.
So you pull it up and then...
Yeah, I hit the down point after I bring the box up.
Right.
I roll the shoulders. It comes down, gravity pulls it. I cushion, so I'm coming back up again to cushion up, and then gravity wins by pulling me back down again. Okay. So in essence, what I'm going to do is to do it in regular time here. You'll see I go like this. Okay. Just a little boink, boink. Okay. I'm pooped out. I need someone to do the option.
What?
Who wants to do the optional one?
What's the option?
The optional one is the pull with the shoulders. Yeah, you got to do it now. All right, so get your feet on either side. Right, just rotate it so it's 3/4. Okay, feet on either side, equal distance. Grab the bottom. Okay, go down. Oh, you can get your fingers underneath. Okay, go down. All the way down. Okay, then you're going to anticipate, and this time instead of driving up with your hips, you're going to pull your head first. You're going to pop your head. There we go. Yep. Are you okay? You okay?
Yeah.
Snap.
Can I do it this way?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so yeah, there's the pose that we're looking for there. So the difference here now is that when you go into your anticipation, going down and into your ready pose, the difference here is the butt right here is going in. And this whole part here goes up in this direction. So the head gets thrust up here. Okay, strong pull in the arms. But the difference here now is that the angle of the arms changes slightly. Instead of it going straight up like this, so where your pull was here at this point here, and you're pulling up like this straight, the difference now is that when you come to here, you're now going like this, okay, which changes the angle of the arm. The arm is now going on an angle like this, right? So it's going to be more of a push rock action to it. So the path of action will be slightly different. Okay, hold that pose just for a couple more seconds. Okay, is everybody okay? All right, so now lift up.
How high do you want it?
Like up to this high point here. Get up to your high point. It's different now that we've got the, just rotate it this way now. Okay, there, so get it up here. Right, so now the drive here, see the line of action now is coming right up through here, through the body. So it's creating a very strong C curve going through there. A little bit of an S curve, but it's more of a C curve that you want to get on it, right? So when you're getting into this pull position, notice the angle of the arms is different as well. So you've got that hard pull going to it. So as the character comes up into this position here, we got that pull that's going like this, okay? Really strong pull there. Why are we both doing the same pose?
It's like
Okay. All right. Now, what I want you to do is take the box now and hold it out as far as you can. Ready? And go like this. Can you do that?
Oh, no.
Go.
Wait.
You do this. Come on, get me that. Here, you hold it. Okay, so. Okay, so the illusion there. Okay. Go sit down. So the illusion here is,
I created the illusion that it was heavy, okay? But as soon as I started to do stuff, either you thought I was insanely strong, okay, to be able to do something like this. Like, that's crazy to do that with that box, okay? So the illusion is starting to get shattered here, okay? Either I'm Superman or this has no weight to it at all, right? So you have to be aware of stuff like that, that if you get to the point where you lift the weight and it goes out like this, it loses the illusion of it being heavy. It's no longer a heavy box. It's got to have that pull to it here. Close into, are you okay?
Yeah.
So it's got to be really close into the body here with that strain being pulled down on it. Anything that pulls away from the body out like this suddenly becomes weightless. Okay? And we don't want to have that illusion, especially this. You don't want that action there. Arms bent. Okay? And definitely not, you know, something where it's out of balance like that. Okay? Obviously, you can't do that with the actual box, right? It just doesn't work because the weight on the front edge would cause it to pull over. So I've got very, very strong grip and very strong wrists, but it doesn't look right. Okay? So we have to create that illusion because we're just drawing on paper. There's no actual weight in this thing. So grabbing it, pulling it, getting it up. So once you get it up into that point where you're in this position now, we go right back to the original drawings that we did for the rest of it on the recovery. Boom, boom, down. Okay? So now, I'm no longer going to use this one. Because we do have a weight transferal thing where from this position now, we're roughly about here in relationship to the box. Let me move this see it better. If we're right about here in relation to the box that we're going to stick on, we then have to take that step in the pelvic thrust thing. Okay, so we're in this position here, heavy with the weight. Excuse me. Then we have to do the anticipation back. Okay, because the action is we're going to thrust it out forward. So we have to do a little anticipation back with the hips like this. And then it's basically you're taking a step forward. Okay, so you're using both the momentum of your leg to push it forward like that, and your hips. So we're going to push and throw the weight out. So this part here is going to be very fast. It's going to have to come down like that in order for it to register. Right? And there's going to be a pull on it as well, because we're basically throwing ourselves off balance. When we go like this, here, we're off balance because we're stepping forward. This has got to do this for our body. It's got to pull us over. Okay? And again, there's that illusion thing where you can't just go like this. You can't be out here like this with a bent arm. Okay? It's got to be pull. Straight arm, pull. Okay? There's the path of action that it's going in. Over there. Okay? And this part here is going to be very fast in your time. It's going to be down hard. Probably get a 1, 2. So it's like your footstep. Heel up, immediately down. Right? Gives it more of a slapping action. So there, hits hard. Okay? So taking the step, you're going to have a high point key. Okay? Just like your mid-stride step. High point key, your plant position. And then you can do a foot down as you're coming down. Foot down, then this part here could hit, so we've got cascading action. So your foot's going to go ba-dum, ba-dum on the box. 1, 2. Right? So not everything happens at the same time. If everything happens at the same time, it looks contrived. So we're going to do the step, plant, and the release. Okay? So you probably want to get your fingers out of the way when you're doing that action there, so you'll stretch your fingers out there, as opposed to having them get crushed. So get your fingers out of the way, let it drop, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go over too far, and then you've got to counterbalance by pulling your butt back out this way and pushing yourself off with your foot. So you're going to get the pull, and up, step back, and then recover with your arms. Swing, settle. Okay. So overall, the action all the way through this thing is going to be a series of seaweed actions in your spine. So when we start off, here's your hips here, here's your neck, and your head up like this. So what you do is you go into your anticipation. Up like this, then we go down, grab the box, we either do this, scooping up, which is acceptable in this action here, or you do this. You roll it up like this. Get it up into its high point, you settle, and then we're going to anticipate, push, over, recover, settle. Okay? That's the action right there through the spine. Okay? So the whole point to this assignment is to get this to look like it's heavy, not that it's light. Okay? And we do that by the way the character acts towards the box, the way they react to the box, and how the box controls them when it goes off balance. Right? If you've got a very heavy weight, and you've got a character that goes like this, they're going to follow through with it, okay, unless they let it go. Right? So you don't want to have the sense that it's like, it loses its weight. Got to be that pulling that makes me go with it. Okay, so when I thrust it out here, it's got to be that. See what my head did? Shoulders first, drag, overlap. Okay? So put all those things together and you get a very, very nice convincing weight lift. Make sure that it works out as far as your timing goes as well. So at this stage, just so you know where we are at in the overall scheme of things, those are the basic mechanics of how I want you to get the box to go. You decide whether your character is really strong, very weak, if they really don't want to do this, they're really tired. This is your attitude pose at the beginning, and then play it through to the end. Act it out. Get someone else to act it out for you. Do some more thumbnail sketches until you're happy with it. Spend a day, just a solid day, doing this, planning it. And then, once you've got it all planned out and you see it firmly in your head, as a little video inside your head, and you know exactly what you're doing, that's when you sit down and you start to animate. At that point, your animation should just flow. Okay? You should be able to burn through those 26 keys and breakdowns very, very quickly, probably within 2 to 3 hours maximum. Okay? Just using your basic shell of a character. Once you've done that, there should be no question as to whether or not your animation is going to work. Because you've already planned it out in the thumbnail stage, you've already acted it out, you've already thought it all through. Now that your animation is done, there should be no revisions to your animation. Now it simply becomes a question as to whether or not it's timed properly. And that's what the pencil test machine is for at this point. You can flip the drawings and see whether or not they're moving correctly. It's your pencil test machine that will now time it for you. Well, it won't time it, but it'll show you the correct timing. Well, it won't even show you the correct timing. You have to input the correct timing and then check to see if it's doing the right thing, right? So pencil testing from this point on is not to see if your animation works, it's to see if your timing works. That's the new phase that we're moving into now, right? So every piece of animation that you do from this point on, you need to plan, because it's going to start to get fairly complex when you guys go into second year, right? Lots of character stuff, you have to plan it through. Again, there is no animation fairy that's going to go, ping, your drawings now work. That's up to you. So, animation, back up one step. Thumbnailing, back up one step. Analysis, back up one step, acting it out yourself. Thinking it through. Okay. If we go forward then to when you actually sit down to do your animation, it's now to the micro point where you've got the idea in your head, mentally visualize it, you see it on the paper, you're copying it off, but you're also thinking about every single last drawing. When you do one drawing of one attitude, you check it to make sure that the attitude of it is correct, that everything looks like it's in the right place based on what you had planned out. Then you start your next drawing. Every line that you do, you flip back and forth to see, is this going where I want it to go? Okay, so you're always checking as you go along. Anytime you put a line down that's not doing what you want it to do, you either erase it or you scrap the entire drawing and you start a brand new drawing and go from there. Okay? But because you planned it so well, it should just pour right out.